Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you about the Inclusion Champion role. It's one of our volunteer roles and it really came from a desire that we had at Happy Mums to make sure that we were reaching as many mums as possible, as many women as possible in our area, North Cumbria and West Cumbria, so that we could help as many people as possible, basically. And we've always been aware that we've been very informally run, a very small local group, and so we've naturally recruited our friends, people that we know, people that live in the communities we live in, but that hasn't necessarily always reached out to women who can be marginalised, can be discriminated against, and therefore don't get the opportunities for support that other women do. So the Inclusion Champion role is really a conscious effort that we want to talk to people and change what we do. So we want to hear from you if you have any insight into how a community, that could either be a geographical community, it could be a community of people with similar characteristics, whether that's race, religion, age. It could also be a particular experience, so being a single parent, having IVF, coming from a rural community. There are a lot of experiences as well that can create barriers for people in terms of getting help, or mean that they perhaps aren't served by a general group. So yeah, the Inclusion Champions would be really important in growing Happy Mums and growing it in a way that is fair and equitable. So by that I mean that anybody, whatever their background, is able to access the support that we offer. And that isn't, I suppose, and that part of that is around overcoming specific barriers to people attending what we run at the moment. But also we want it to be more than that. We want it to be about changing what we do. So if what we do doesn't meet the needs of a particular group of women, we would like to work with them and change what we do, so that we can help them. And we're really keen to adapt and grow in that way. The ways that we will be asking people to do this, as long with this video, you will also get a little worksheet around what kind of communities you're a part of and how you might have insight into that and how that insight might be fed back to us. So I've talked a bit about what these communities are, because sometimes we don't, because it's our community, we don't see it, we don't recognise it in ourselves. It's so second nature that we don't even know that we're part of a community. So on here we've got things like working patterns, so being a full-time mum. I know that that's often an issue for mums accessing things. If they work Monday to Friday, they're full-time, and they can often feel quite excluded. So we've got working pattern, home life, like being a single parent, an adoptive parent. There are characteristics, so having a disability, parenting a child with a disability, or any other additional needs, race, culture, and I suppose experiences, so being a victim of discrimination, going through IVF, belonging to a religious group, speaking a particular language. So if English isn't your first language, we're really keen to serve those women much better. We are keen to translate what we do and to hear ways that we can better reach people for whom English isn't their first language. Age is also a massive thing for us. We really want to reach more younger mums, and that's one area that if you had insight into that, we would really want to hear from you. And then things like occupational things, like being from a farming community, working in healthcare. There are lots of specific challenges that people who work in different sectors face around becoming a mum. If you might not think you have insight into things, but when you actually sit down and think, what do I do? What makes it difficult for me? How can we adapt what Happy Mums does? I do apologise for being very husky. Along with this little thing about what communities you're part of, there's also this one, which is a worksheet, and this says about what you have insight into. So characteristics, locations, experiences, and it's really important with this to say that you don't have to represent the views of an entire community or everybody that you share a particular characteristic with. We're not looking for you to do that. We wouldn't expect anybody to do that. What we really want to do though is expand the things that we have insight into, because naturally we are all limited by our own experiences and our own characteristics. So we would, we're very open and open to challenge, really. And that's a really important part of being an inclusion champion, is challenging in a positive and constructive way. Not being afraid to say, this doesn't seem right to me. Have you thought that the way that you operate is creating a barrier for these people? We're very open to those sorts of challenges. And that will really be the role of the inclusion champion. We will also have the inclusion champions meeting together every so often as part of an inclusion panel. We would want you to maybe look at any strategies, policies, things like that, any printed materials that we offer, our website, our job adverts, because those are all areas where we can potentially be unwittingly discriminating against people. So the way that we put out our written materials, the way that we put out our digital materials, the policies that we have, we need to be open about those, and we need to be challenged on them, and that is the only way that we'll become a much better organisation, really. On the worksheet there's about what you have insight to, but then also how happy mums might meet the needs of mums like me better, or batter, as I've put, which I think is a is a whole other video. But and that could be things like the times of the groups. There aren't any groups in an evening, there aren't any groups at a weekend. That excludes a massive amount of women, and we would want to look at that. Sometimes we hear that, it would be really nice to have a group that was specific for this, like a characteristic. So like single parents might feel like they want to speak to other single parents because the challenges that they face, are very specific around that. And so, we would be very open to ideas about starting kind of specific groups like that. In terms of how we would expect you to do this, surveys. So might send out surveys, get your opinions, get your ideas. We will sometimes do it face to face in an inclusion panel, and maybe go through a whole load of things, but always get an evaluation from you. It may also be a quick email. We've got these opportunities coming up to sort of be part of a group that's developing a new service or a new policy, and we would sort of lean on you for that. On the other side of it, it's about you getting information about Happy Mums, the fact that we exist, the fact that we offer our support, getting it out there to women that you know, to communities that you know, and helping be that bridge really between us and women that we don't currently reach.